say, every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want you.
And for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
One of the three pillars of President Muhammadu Buhari's campaign in the run-up to 2015 elections was tackling corruption. Since the inception of his administration, ICPC, as an anti-corruption agency of government, has striven to make good on this objective. Welcome to Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiai. Today, we shall focus on the Commission's success stories vis-a-vis the anti-corruption drive of the Buhari-led administration during the last 4 years. But first, Joy Aja is standing by with anti-corruption stories.
Hello viewers, thank you for joining us. My name is Joy Aja with Anti-Corruption Stories. A woman who secured employment into the Federal Civil Service with fake credentials has been nabbed and arraigned by ICPC. The commission dragged Oden Alison Akpama before Honorable Justice Anna Akobi of the Federal Capital Territory High Court 36 sitting in Kwali, Abuja, on a 9-count charge bordering on making false statements and forgery. ICPC counsel Kyoba Kyo Anabraba told the court that Akpama had sometime in 2013 allegedly made a false statement to the chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission, in which she claimed to have obtained a bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Calabar in 2011 and the National Youth Service Exemption Letter from the National Youth Service Corps NYSC in 2012, with which she got employed into the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs and thereafter earned salaries from October 2013 to July 2018 to the tune of 2.8 million naira. Akpama allegedly forged a University of Calabar degree and an NYSC exemption certificate, which she used to gain employment in 2013, an offense that is contrary to Section 363 and punishable under Section 364 of the Penal Code Law, Cap 89, Laws of the Northern Nigeria, 1963. That will be all on this segment. Corruption Must Go continues. Stay with us.
Since 2015, ICPC has stepped up the application of the provisions of its enabling law to achieve its mandate of enforcement, prevention, and public education. The Commission's spokesperson, Rashidat Okodwa MNI, tells us more.
Welcome to Corruption Must Go. Thank you very much. Now, the mandate of the Commission has 3 prongs: enforcement, prevention, social mobilization, and education. Can you briefly tell our viewers what the Commission has achieved in terms of the enforcement mandate?
In the last 4 years, ICPC has done a lot in that regard. Let's remember, by the time we're even talking about the achievements of the Commission, we must always have at the back of our minds the costs of corruption to development, to the well-being of the citizens. So when we mention a specific case of corruption, you should have at the back of your mind what multiples of such cases, what the effect of multiples of such cases, what the effect is on the polity, on social development, economic development, on morals. Now, coming to what we have done in 4 years regarding enforcement. With regard to charging people to court, arraignments in court, we've had, in the 4 years, 246 cases charged to court. 246, and I'll give a few examples. The former governor of Kebbi State, Alhaji Usman Dakingari, was arraigned in Kebbi for the misapplication of over 1 billion naira of the state fund. Another example of an arraignment too is the one involving the DG of the National Broadcasting Commission, Ishak Modibo Kawu, for a whopping 2.5 billion naira fraud involving the digital switchover funds. Another such arraignment, we have charged this person to court. He's yet to be arraigned. But for Nigerians to have an idea of the scope of personalities that are involved in corruption, you would not believe a whole justice of the court, by name Justice Muhammad Samia, is to be arraigned. We have charges in Owerri, in Imo State High Court, Owerri. Charges against Justice Samia for accepting a 200 million naira bribe to influence the outcome of a case before him. We arraigned a lady, Maimuna Aliyu, who is the former executive director in ASO Savings and Loans. There are 2 different charges she's facing in court, but one of them is the allegation that she embezzled $360,000, money that was paid for a property, a land that ASO Savings had, which she didn't remit to her office. Unfortunately, the lady happened to have been a nominee for the current ICPC board. So convictions. Within these 4 years of the past 4 years of Buhari administration, because we're still the new administration is still very, very current, very, very new. We've had a conviction of, unfortunately, still another ex-nominee to the ICPC board, Dr. Saad Alanamu, who was the former chairman, governing council of Kwara State Polytechnic, over a contract of that is worth well over 180 million. That it has been proven that he awarded someone who was totally unqualified for the job, and also that there was an element of bribery involved. He was convicted to 12 years, cumulative 12 years imprisonment, 7 years on one count, 5 years with hard labor on another count, plus a fine of 25 million naira. The bribe in question was 5 million naira, but by a provision of the ICPC law, section 20 to be precise, once somebody is convicted, the amount of money alleged to have been taken as bribe would have to be paid in fine. At least 5 times that amount would have to be paid in fine. We've also had a former executive chairman of Benue State Primary Education Board, Dr. Augustine Deza, who was also convicted for converting money from personnel, 140 million naira from personnel, moving it to overhead without due authorization. That's violent. Authorization would have to have come from the House of Assembly, State House of Assembly, that appropriated those funds for it to be used. He was convicted. We also had another conviction. A lady convicted for visa fraud. If we all know what visa racketeering has done to the image of Nigeria, would appreciate the work that ICPC is doing in cleaning or cleansing that area. We've done so much good work in that area that we've won the commendation of the Indian Embassy, British Embassy, United States Embassy for the work, and several other embassies, the Embassy of Brazil, for the work we're doing with cleaning the visa system. A former member of Zamfara House of Assembly, Lawal Atahiri Dogon Kade, was convicted for 4 years, sentenced to 4 years imprisonment for contract of corruption involved, corruption in the supply of medical equipment. And then the infamous Professor Richard Akindele. I'm sure Nigerians will remember that scandal of a professor who was entrusted with the care of our young women and men in the university to teach them, to mold them into model citizens. What did he do? He demanded sex for marks. ICPC waded into that matter, and that was a landmark victory for ICPC. From the point of the fact that we adjudged that action as Akindele having abused his office. Section 19 of our Act, of the ICPC Act, prohibits using your office to confer undue advantage on yourself. Now, still talking about enforcement, a key aspect of enforcement is assets recovery, because we have to recover the proceeds of crime from these people. It's not enough to throw them in jail. We also have to recover those things that we can of the monies they've stolen. So ICPC in the last 4 years has recovered over 24 billion naira worth of movable and immovable assets. And not only that, we also have recovered, that's for government, we also have recovered over 11 billion naira for pensioners and for the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Therefore, ICPC has done tremendously well in the last 4 years with the enforcement mandate.
And now it has been said that prevention is better than cure. And the drafters of ICPC law thought it wise to make prevention an important part of the mandate. What has the Commission done to prevent corruption in the last 4 years?
Thank you very much. As you said, prevention is better than cure. The law of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 at Section 6, subsection B, C, and D empowers ICPC to review the processes, the systems, and procedures of ministries, departments, and agencies. And where these processes and procedures are found to be prone to corruption, ICPC has a mandate to supervise, to direct and supervise a review of those systems. We must bear in mind that ministries, departments, and agencies are extremely important in implementing government policies. At the new ICPC board inauguration on February 4 this year, 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari, in his speech on that occasion, charged ICPC to use its skills and expertise in identifying corruption-prone MDAs and also in identifying what must be done for us to have better governance. So what has ICPC achieved in this regard? ICPC has done several systems, we call it system study and review of MDAs, several MDAs. Very recently, as part of this 4-year thing that we've under the past 4 years of President Buhari, we had system study reports presented to the Nigerian Immigration Service, the National Pensions Commission, the Rural Electrification Agency. We've had Federal Civil Service Commission involved. We also have had the Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority, NEPSA, studied by ICPC. That is just a sample of the many MDAs we had studied. And they all agreed with us that the many things we identified were actually wrong in their system. We also have done we do what is called corruption risk assessment we have done in the past. The outcome of the first one we did in the port sector, we did that one around 2012, 2013. The outcome of that, one of the outcomes was the development of a platform called, an e-platform called Port Service Support Portal. And that platform is called PSSP, the acronym is PSSP, was launched by the Vice President on the 23rd of June 2016. It's a platform for redressing service and integrity shortfalls in the port sector. We all know how very important the port sector is. ICPC has also done corruption risk assessment of the airports, the Abuja International, Nnamdi Azikiwe, International Airport, and the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. ICPC has also done the corruption risk assessment in those areas. And one of our recent efforts under the CRA was the CRA done on the e-government platforms. The e-government platforms, as we know, IPs is the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System, GIFMIS, the Government Integrated Financial Management System, Information System, and TSA, the Treasury Single Account. ICPC did a corruption risk assessment. That is to say, trying to find where the loopholes are before bad people exploit those loopholes. That's prevention for you. Under prevention as well, ICPC has also launched what we call a constituency project tracking group, meant to track the constituency projects that lawmakers cause to be put in the budgets of MDAs for their constituencies. We also have strategic partnerships we have formed, under prevention. ICPC, by the way, I should have mentioned, we have what is called anti-corruption transparency units in MDAs. That's our first mechanism for preventing corruption. And in the period that we're discussing, the 4-year period, we inaugurated an additional 89 actors in MDAs. We call them actors for short. They are the eyes and ears of ICPC in their MDAs. They gather information, they collect petition. They cannot do criminal investigation, but they do preliminary investigation. They sensitize the officers, their own colleagues against corruption, and they also bring information on system study, because nobody can know your house better than you. So we use the actors are extremely important in prevention. We have in place a tax fraud and a task team on tax fraud and illicit financial flows. Still speaking about prevention, we have strategic partnerships with government agencies. Sometimes they come to us, sometimes we go to them in order to prevent corrupt practices in their own systems. For example, I'll just give you a few examples. We have a strategic partnership with PITAD, that's the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, whereby PITAD came to us to say, come and help us curb fraud in pensions, because from that experience, not even just fraudsters out there are beleaguering the pension system. Even pensioners themselves, some of them are fraudsters. Some of their family members are fraudsters. So ICPC and PITAD are working together to curb pension fraud. Another example of a strategic partnership is the one we have but it's still ongoing, though the major actor is out of the picture. The immediate past Minister of Interior, Abdurrahman Dambazao, came to ICPC with a request that ICPC should help to sanitize, to check through, to verify its the certificates of all the employees under the Ministry of Interior. So we had over 40,000 certificates to check through. Out of the 40,000, we have processed over 11,000. But the 11,000 we have processed in the 4 years, only about 5,000, so something about 4,800 have been returned back from the institutions where we had written to check. And out of those 4,800, 720 have been confirmed to have been forged. And there are cases we have taken to court now regarding those forgeries.
Corruption not in my country.
Madam, no. These drugs are very scarce, so we don't have them here. Go to the next building. There's a paying pharmacy there. You buy it from there.
The drugs I have on my list of prescription is what I am seeing here.
Do you know the packets are empty or they're expired? I mean, go and buy drugs from the next pharmacy. You're here telling me my own job. Rubbish.
Tell me another lie, because I was here yesterday when this new set of drugs were delivered here.
Doctor, see the drugs, oh. I didn't know I was on leave yesterday. Why you no tell me say that good for nothing prognosing doctor now inside you come here?
Hey, I heard that. Do you know how many lives you will save by giving out those drugs? Or do you know how many lives you are killing by holding those same drugs? You are the same set of people saying that government is corrupt. Government is corrupt. Now you are at your duty post. Are you not corrupt? You are sacked. Yes, because that is corruption. Not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Now, on a final note, public mobilization and sensitization is important to secure the buy-in of the people towards a successful campaign against corruption. How successful has the Commission fared in this regard?
You couldn't have put it better when you said that public engagement, let me rephrase what you said, is pretty important for us to, in the fight against corruption. Without the citizens, without their buy-in, we can't do much. ICPC cannot be everywhere. So an important segment of ICPC's mandate, captured, enshrined in law at section 6E and F of the Act, section 6 subsection E and F of the Act, is public education and mobilization against corruption. Because even the lawmakers recognize the important role citizens have to play in fighting corruption. How has ICPC fared? I don't want to go into details. We've done so much. We have anti-corruption clubs in schools to catch them young, to reorient our children's mindset towards probity, honesty, integrity, dignity, honor. These children are members of these clubs, and they are actually asked to exhibit what they learn to let the impact be felt in their immediate environment. We've launched so many clubs. We have vanguards in tertiary institutions doing the same things the kids at secondary school levels are doing. We also have interface with religious leaders. We have interface with public officers. ICPC has a training arm, in case you didn't know. ICPC has the Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria. That is a training and research arm of ICPC. And that academy has done laudable work. In the 4 years we're speaking of, ACAN, that's the acronym for the academy, ACAN has trained several thousands of public officers on integrity, on good governance. These public officers include legislators from states' houses of assembly. And in fact, ACAN is not just training Nigerians. In December, the academy had a training done for the heads of anti-corruption agencies in African Union countries. They all came to Abuja for that training. It was to commemorate President Buhari's championship and the fact that President Buhari was declared the 2018 anti-corruption champion for African Union. So that training was done in honor of the president at that time. And at that time, President Buhari declared his support for ACAN. And he said he pledged to make ACAN the best in Africa in terms of anti-corruption education. And also, in addition to that, very recently, ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, had an interface with ACAN and had declared to adopt ACAN as the center of excellence in anti-corruption education. So ICPC is soaring high in achieving its mandate across all levels. There's no gainsaying that fact. So therefore, in conclusion, I'd like to end with the promise that Professor Bolaji Owasanye made at the inauguration of the new ICPC board on 4th February 2019, this year. Professor Bolaji Owasanye pledged the commitment of himself and the board to fighting corruption to a standstill, to eschew, to expose and sanction corruption. He pledged the board's commitment to fall in line with President Muhammadu Buhari's vision for a corruption-free Nigeria. So therefore, Nigerians have a lot. We've done quite a bit in the past, but stepping into the next level, Nigerians have a lot to see from ICPC.
Well, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. You're still watching Corruption Must Go. Also during the period under review, a new board of ICPC was constituted. At the swearing-in of the board, the chairman, Professor Bolaji Owasonye, promised to fight corruption consistent with the president's commitment.
I want to pledge on behalf of the Commission and the members that we will do our best not to disappoint you or to disappoint the country. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
That's our package on this week's edition. Remember, you can make enquiries and suggestions via our toll-free numbers as shown on the screen. You can also watch the program on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/ICPC Nigeria. I am Murna Barnabas Atiahi. Bye for now.